Alright, welcome back to the tutorials. So when we finished up the previous tutorial, we were talking about our approach here to creating NPCs. And I mentioned that all I did was take Bob and change the color, and then name the animation the color, and then added a number to indicate what animation I wanted to use for that particular NPC. Well, now let's actually try to code it, right? So let's go to Kingdom Creation, and I'm going to make a new grouping here. And groupings are great because you can just copy and paste them. What just happened to my grouping? There it goes. Okay. I'm going to call this first NPC Fred Smith. And I'm going to add new event below, just like that. And here's what we need to do. We need to do this in a specific order. Okay, we need to create variables, and then we can use those variables to create the object that we want on the screen. So what's the first variable we always have to think about when we're going to try to create an object for our screen? Position, right? Position X and whatnot. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's add, we don't need a condition, right? Let's go ahead and let's add a new variable. Now I want this to be a scene variable. It doesn't need to be, this variable does not need a scope larger than the current scene that we're in. Okay, so let's make it a scene variable. And it's a value because it's a number. And we're going to call it Fred Smith dot position X. Now we can hard code this position here, right? Let's put him at like 250 for right now. We can always change this later on. Okay, let's copy and paste and change this to position Y. And we'll leave that at 250 for right now. But now we've created two variables that we can use to manipulate where we want this character to be, which is a good thing for future-proofing our game. What else do we need? Well, I also want to create a variable, a scene variable string, and I want to include fredsmith.name, and that name is what's going to show up. That name is what's going to show up when we run our dialogue. Okay, so it'll say Fred Smith, and then we can even do this. And what that'll do is it'll make it so that whatever dialogue comes next, it'll start right there and just add it to the name. Okay, and then we can just change this part here and always have the name ready to go. All right, now let's copy and paste this because we need another string of a scene variable, and that's going to be fredsmith.animation, right? And here's where we're going to choose what animation color we want. Remember, we've got burgundy and ice blue. Let's make Fred Smith in quotes, ice blue. We want to make this text match the text of our animation. Notice there is no space in between. Also notice I did not put the number there, right? No number, because I want to manipulate that on the fly when I need to. All right? So I'm going to put ice blue, we'll do that. I don't think I need anything else there. So let's do this. I'm going to further my grouping here by calling this one variable creation, right? That's what we're doing here. And then I want to add another group here that's going to be called dialog creation, and one more for object creation. And the order here again does matter actually. You need these coordinates to be in place before we can actually create the object. So dialog creation, let's right click that and add a new sub event. And we're going to create a variable that is a string because it's text, and we're going to call this one fredsmith.dialog.0. And I'm doing the .0 there because I want to be able to have the ability in the future to add more or change more of that. And by starting this off with a 0, we're creating a structure that we can easily manipulate later on. So I'm going to equal that to, and then what do we want Fred to say here? We want Fred to say something like, good morning, Bob. Isn't it a great day? Looks good. All right. Now, what else is left except to create Bob? So let's go ahead and right-click this and let's add a sub-event below. There we go. And let's do common actions, object, create an object. Yeah, just create an object. Now I can just choose townfolk. That's all I have to do. And I can, the X position, it's not gonna like what I'm gonna type, but it doesn't matter. Force the issue. It's variable because it's a scene, not global variable. It's not a string, so don't write string here. Variable Fred Smith dot position X. Whoops. And then let's copy this, paste it, and change this to position Y. Base layer is fine. Now I do have to set my animation color here. So I'm going to say common action for all objects, position, is that where I want to do this? Let's see. I think it is. Okay. Give me 1 second, sorry. Let me just get my bearings here for a second. Create an object. Right, it creates that object. I think I'm gonna copy this, paste it. Again, I'm trying to think future proofing here. Okay. Change object animation. All right, and now I do, because we've created the object here, I want to now change its animation and actually change our condition here. To compare X position of an object, townfolk equals, and now I can put variable Fred Smith dot position X. Okay, and now I'm going to choose position Y. Townfolk equals variable Fred Smith dot position Y. So we're particularly choosing this object at this position, and we want to not create the object, but we want to change its animation. Right, change the animation here. The object is still just townfolk, and we want to set it equal to, and here's where our variable helps again. We want variable string, because it's a text, Fred Smith dot animation, right? And then it's plus, because we want to add our number to this. 0. And it doesn't like it, and that's okay. It doesn't have to. All right, that's a lot. Z order. Let's change the Z order at the very bottom here for all of ours. Okay, let's put it, make sure it's lined up with this part here, and let's just change the Z order of our NPCs for townfolk. Set it for 100, that should clear any other object. And let's just test this out and see if we've got an NPC in ice blue. No, it's burgundy. I don't mind the fact that we're going through him because we haven't set up our collision yet. We do have him on the screen, so we created him effectively. We need to change the animation here. Oh, I know what went wrong. Change animation by name. So we need to change it by name. Okay, that's going to equal variable string Fred Smith dot animation plus 0. That's why I didn't like it before. It's got to be changed by name. All right, that should do it. There he is. All right.